sometimes as parents, we do some mistakes when we criticize the child, when we reprimand the child for every small incident. Those imprints, the earliest imprints, the deepest wounds stay along with the child always. So this is what is inner child, and this, unless it is healed, we really cannot reach up to our true potential. Recognize your wound. कौन सा wound है? कब से दर्द शुरू हुआ? Whether you had a rejection wound or abandonment wound, कुछ तो फील हुआ होगा बचपन में. उसके बाद उस इमोशन को वैलिडेट कीजिए. प्लीज वैलिडेट द इमोशंस. कि many a times what we do, we push the emotions below the carpet. अरे नहीं, अब तो बड़े हो गए हैं, अब क्या ऐसे फील करना. And in our many a times within the males, they say कि okay, take a peg and everything will be fine. No, it doesn't get fine that way. You have to deal with the problem. You have to see the problem eye to eye. Then only it is possible. Okay, and then recognize, validate, and then reparent. Whatever was your unmet needs, we just learned whether we needed love, whether we needed safety, whether we needed anything, encouragement, validation. Give yourself that, a lot of that, so that you can reparent your child now. Whatever was not given to you in your younger years, you give that to yourself now, and then you learn to protect the child. You learn to protect this child by setting healthy boundaries. If you are not able to conform to anyone's demands, you learn to say no. You have to say no firmly but politely, like that. But you have to say no, I can't. I won't be able to join you for the party, or I won't be able to come to that place exactly. So these are the things which one can do to reconnect with the inner child. Today we are going to again reconnect with our inner child. And what is inner child? Actually, let's understand that first. So inner child is our own subconscious mind, okay? And from 0 to 7 years, the subconscious mind is so very active, and the conscious mind is not at all active. So whenever we were told that Santa Claus will come on December 25th, we always believed as children. And whenever we were told that the tooth fairy will come, so we would so hopingly keep our broken tooth below the pillow, because our subconscious mind doesn't have any filter. So it will just keep on absorbing everything, whatever is being told to the child of 0 to 7 or 0 to 8 years age. Similarly, when a child is told that yes, you can do, as we know that when Shivaji Maharaj was just 2 years old, mother of Shivaji would say Raje Shivaji. Now a 2-year-old was actually programmed to become such a great king. And similarly, sometimes as parents, we do some mistakes when we criticize the child, when we reprimand the child for every small incident. Those imprints, the earliest imprints, the deepest wounds stay along with the child always. So this is what is inner child, and this, unless it is healed, we really cannot reach up to our true potential. So today we will be learning how to heal the deep-rooted wounds, pain, trauma, memories, and how these impact our adult life also. That is something very important, that how these traumas, these memories, these emotions which were put into us at a very young age, how they are impacting our present life scenario. And secondly, we will be connecting with our true self, the true authentic self, by honoring our worth. So let's see that we have a video.
It's really hiding my face crying. When I was really little, around 11 and 12, I was under contract with Motown, and I would have to go to the recording studio. I had to go and make these albums because the summer tour was right around the corner, and right across the street from the recording studio was a ballpark. And I could hear the kids, the roar of the crowd and playing and catching ball and having fun and playing tennis. And some of those times I so passionately wanted to just go over there, just play a little bit and not go to the recording studio and sing. Just to, have some fun with the kids. And I couldn't. I mean, on tour backstage with all the musicians and the singers, and I felt grown up for all my life. I remember all the time when I was little, they used to call me a 45-year-old midget wherever I went. I used to always hear that, and I just would hear it, never thought about it. When you were little, when you started to sing, did you know you were that good? I never thought about it. I just did. But you don't miss then not ever having had what they call an average childhood? No, not really. No. We get to do things kids do in the neighborhood. Well, you don't get to do things that other children get to do. The simple things that they so much take for granted. Mm-hmm. Having friends and slumber parties and buddies and just hanging out. There was none of that for me. I didn't have any friends when I was little. My brothers were my friends. In bed sleeping night, I was up doing clubs. I was doing club dates, 3 a.m. The striptease come on after us. We were performing. And we didn't have friends. My brothers were like my friends, but we worked. There was no Christmas, there was no birthdays, and we were very strict Jehovah's Witnesses. From one concert to the next. If it wasn't concert, it was the recording studio. If it wasn't that, it was TV shows or interviews or picture sessions. Mm-hmm. It was always something to do. What would you do if you had a vacation? I mean, a real vacation where you could just get off and away from singing and anything that looked like work? What would you do? What would I do? I really don't know. You've never really done it? In my life, I really had one vacation, and that was last Christmas. Outside of that, let me think what I did. I just stayed home. I watched television. I read. I remember one time we were getting ready to go to South America. And everybody was packed up in the cars, ready to leave and go. And playing was about to, and I hid. And I was crying while I was hiding because I really did not want to go. I wanted to play. I did not want to go. No, he's going to kill me.
He's going to get you still worried. Well, he feels that he was stripped.
I'm glad he said it. Now I'll say it, yes.
Did he ever beat you?
Yes, he did. Yes.
And that was difficult to take, getting beaten and going on stage and performing.
Yes. My father used to always say, don't mess up, and I felt I knew every part. If something went wrong, I felt I could cover it. Well, I didn't have it that hard because he used me as the example. It was like, do it like Michael. And he practiced us with a belt in his hand. And if you miss a step, expect to be...
Now we saw how when the child was so innocent, so pure, he was beaten up black and blue, and how his childhood was murdered, and what memories would this human being will have for the future, and what emotions he will carry throughout his life. Will he have trust for the people? Will he develop trust in the future? Will he develop the kindness, the compassion with which one should look at the world? The lens with which we see the world is developed at this tender age of 0 to 7. Now we see another example in the next video. We will see how Hitler was made what he became in his adulthood.
To where it all started and taking a look at Hitler before he became the Fuhrer, before he even joined the Nazi Party in the first place. Did something happen to this man in his youth that made him the monster he turned out to be? Let's take a look and find out. It probably doesn't come as a surprise that Hitler's father was a terrible guy. Alois Hitler Sr. was born Alois Schicklgruber in 1837 in the small Austrian town of Strons. He was an illegitimate child of a 42-year-old unmarried Catholic peasant known as Maria Schicklgruber, which carried a fair bit of social stigma at the time. He wasn't even given a proper surname on his baptismal certificate. The priest just wrote illegitimate instead. This was likely a major source of insecurity for young Alois. When Alois was just 5, his mother married a local miller by the name of Johann Georg Heidler. It's strongly believed that Johann could have actually been Alois's biological father, but nobody could ever really know for certain. Some have speculated that a Jewish man named Leopold Frankenberger was actually Alois's real biological father, but there isn't any hard evidence for this whatsoever. It just came into popular belief because the idea of Hitler, history's most famous anti-Semite, having a Jewish grandfather seemed darkly ironic, but this assumption doesn't really line up with the facts. 4 years after the marriage, Maria passed away, and Alois was sent to live with his new uncle Johann Nepomuk Heidler, with whom he trained to become a cobbler. But that wasn't the path that Alois ended up taking in his life. Instead, he became a civil servant and joined the semi-military profession of being a customs official. This led him to bouncing around Austria for a number of years, and in 1877 he decided to right the biggest perceived wrong of his life and legitimize himself. With permission from his church, he asked to change his surname from Schicklgruber to that of his legal father, Johann Georg Heidler. For reasons lost to time, the official who filled in Alois's papers wrote his name as Alois Hitler rather than Alois Heidler. It's crazy to think that if Alois had never gotten his name changed, we might have been looking back in fear at the dread of Adolf Schicklgruber. Doesn't quite have the same scary ring to it, does it? So who is Hitler's mother? She's actually the third wife of Alois. His first wife was the wealthy Anna Glassel-Horer, but much like his future son, Alois was a bad guy and would have affairs frequently, often cheating on her with girls as young as 19 when he was 43. He next married one of his mistresses, Franziska Fanny Matzelberger, after Anna died, and had 2 children with her. However, he would soon leave her too for his housekeeper, young Clara Posel. But there was just one problem. Depending on the truth of Alois's parentage, Clara might have also been his first cousin, or even his niece. Yes, that's right, Hitler could have been the product of cousin incest, and things would only get stranger from there. As Alois and Clara started having children together, they had 6 in total, Hitler included, but the grand majority of them died in their infancy. Gustav, Otto, and Ida died of diphtheria the year before Hitler was born, and another one of his brothers, Edmund, would die of measles in 1900. The only surviving children of Alois and Clara were Adolf and his younger sister, Paula. Adolf was born on April 20th, 1889 in the small Austrian town of Braunau am Inn, close to the German border. He lived with his mother and father, his biological siblings Paula and Edmund, and his 2 half-siblings from his father's second marriage, Angela and Alois Jr. While he was close with his mother, conflict with his father and his inability to adapt to school gave young Adolf a troubled childhood. Alois Hitler Sr. was a profoundly cold and cruel man to his immediate family. He was controlling, distant, and would beat his wife and children at the drop of a hat. Some even recounted that he'd make a show of beating the family dog until it wet itself on the carpet. Adolf was a confident and free-spirited young man, so he received the worst of his father's physical abuse in their frequent fights. They also moved around a lot during Hitler's youth, as Alois Sr. retired from his job as a customs official and decided to move to the Austrian town of Hafeld to farm bees. The move made things even worse for Adolf and Alois Sr.'s relationship. Adolf was enrolled in a strict state-funded elementary school and found himself at odds with the establishment's rules and regulations. This led to further violence from Alois, who wanted his son to take a similar career path to himself. While Clara tried to defend her son from his father's wrath, she often ended up on the receiving end instead. It was a truly toxic home life. When the bee business failed, the Hitlers continued to move around over the next few years.
So here also we see the home atmosphere was so toxic, and definitely his father was quite a bully. He was a major bully. So all these things made Hitler such a monster. So before we learn the expectations and rules of this world, the adult world rather, every child is free, open, and full of potential. But after these things are taught to the child, naturally the true authentic self and the connection with the subconscious dissolves. We all get disconnected from our core self. And that is why it is so very important to have the inner child healing. If we don't heal ourselves, what happens? Emotional triggers. Choti baat, big reactions. Small event, a very big reaction. Insecurities. Always feeling of insecurity will haunt us. Suffering from low self-worth, fearing rejection and low self-esteem and perfectionism. Yes, perfectionism is also a result of rejection wound, because the child now is not allowing himself to do any mistake. If he by chance, if he does any mistake and the parents or the authority figure leaves him, so he is totally keeping his desk spick and span. His marks are always above 95. But the sad part is that what is the price that child is paying? He is no more a playful child. He is always on the edge. So these are the various repercussions if inner child is not healed. And how does the voice of your inner child show up? It shows up as negative self-talk. I can't do this. Impossible for me to get this job. All these, negative self-talk. Before you go for an interview, your mind has already decided, ये तो job मुझे मिलेगा ही नहीं. Perhaps in your childhood, you were badly criticized. Emotional dysregulation. Again, emotional dysregulation is what I discussed. Small event, big reactions. Negative core belief. I can't achieve it. I am so not lovable. I am so not competent. So all these things put together make us our core belief, what we believe about our own self. And there is anxiety triggers off and on. One gets anxious off and on. These are all the voices of our inner child. So we have to sit with ourselves and find out, what is my inner child feeling? Is it feeling fear? Because those are the imprints. Those have been put into this child, or loneliness, or the need of reassurance. No issues, beta. You go ahead. I am behind you. If a parent says like that, the child develops the confidence. Otherwise, the child will always be shaky. Acknowledge the voice which will help you to deal with compassion rather than defensiveness. Another thing which happens when an inner child is not healed, the person will always keep on reacting from the place of ego. If a small thing is also told, ki today your hair is not looking, it's looking very unruly, or why did you say this to me? This is again a defensive mechanism. The child is the broken adult rather, I should say, is no way ready to accept that yes, there is something a little not so correct and I can redo it. So all these are defensive voices. Yeah, this is again seeking validation from others. Is my inner child is seeking validation from others, or keep doubting his own judgments? We have to sit with ourselves and find out these answers. Difficulty is the inner child feeling difficulty in setting boundaries? Is he allowing other people to walk over him, whatever may be the event or the cause? These are all the questions which we must sit. Yeah, these are again, because of the unhealed inner child, one suffers from emotional wounds, emotional overreactions, which I have already spoken about. Small event, big reaction, loud reactions, or few people will withdraw. No emotions at all. Will withdraw from the communication or anything. Then few people don't suffer from lack of purpose. Even if they have achieved a lot, like disconnection from joy and lack of purpose is quite a overlapping symptoms, that even when one has achieved a lot in life, the particular amount of money, the particular amount of number, or the car they were dreaming of, still that happiness, that joy is missing. And that is always chronic sadness kind of a thing is perpetually there, and one feels a void. That means the inner child is not healed, because these are the deepest and the earliest traumas, making the child believe that I don't belong here. I'm anyway not lovable. Nobody loves me. So all these are emotional wound which an unhealed person will carry. Now this pain, this emotional pain will stay inside our heart and making it feel heavy, dull, and sometimes it is very sharp. Must have, like 99% of us must have felt sometimes this pain, yes or no? Now when left untreated, it becomes our lens to see the world. First of all, if we don't heal the inner child, we develop the perception about ourselves and the world that the world is like this only. This becomes our lens to see the world and as well as ourselves. So just imagine how detrimental this kind of an unhealed inner child is to our peace, mental peace, and growth, material growth as well. And once it is healed, we feel more powerful from within and we can embrace the joy, deeper sense of happiness. Now I will ask all of you one question. Just write down, when did you feel most vulnerable, emotionally hurt and neglected, or misunderstood, or criticized and felt a loss? What age was it? Okay, someone is writing in my teens. Okay, childhood, but which age? That age, we have to go back to that inner child, that small little child who was unheard. 6 to 7, very correct. Okay, 6, maybe 6, yes. 5 to 9, yes. Wonderful. Okay, so we have to target this inner child. For the first time, when the child felt unheard and unloved and neglected, rejected, dejected, a small little girl standing in a room full of relatives and saying, Suno, meri baat bhi suno, and nobody is looking at her, nobody is listening to her. That is the time when the inner child got hurt for the first time. And we have to search that. What belief did you form about yourself at that moment? वो memory क्या थी? वो उम्र क्या था? And how does that belief play out in your life today? You have to think it, write it, journal it. That वो जो तब nobody looked at me, nobody smiled at me. हाँ बेटा क्या बोलना चाहते हो? Nobody. Everybody ignored. Maybe I'm not important. Very good. It's a bad memory. Feeling of worthlessness. Yes. All these being carried by us till date. But we are not aware. We are not aware that we are carrying all these feelings. And with these feelings as our core belief, do you think you can really enjoy life to that extent? Because our mental bandwidth has really gone this much. We can't even think, yes, I can achieve anything and everything. Now you have to search, what does your inner child need from you now? Does it need to be seen? Does he need to feel safe? And does he need to set boundaries? Because once you give those things to the inner child will get healed up. Such broken adults we are actually, unless we heal our inner child. Yeah, same. What were your unmet needs? Was it love? Was it safety? Was it validation or encouragement? You have to find out that what was it I was looking for from my family members, from my parents, from my authority figure, but I didn't get. Your inner child is still searching and seeking the same in adult life. What emotions come up? Any particular memory? Again, I am telling you to reflect. Write down your thoughts, please. Maybe after the webinar, you sit with a diary and write down your thoughts and note how your inner child may still be influencing your life today. And only once it is healed, then you learn to love yourself unconditionally. पहले क्या होता था? बचपन में बताया गया था, बेटा, if you come first, you will get a gift. This is a conditional love. This is a deal. This is not love. If you keep your room clean na beta, mama will come and give you Barbie doll. This is conditional love. And we also learn to love ourselves conditionally. Then give care and attention. तभी मिलेगा care and attention जब मैं कुछ करके दिखाऊंगा या दिखाऊंगी. But love is never conditional. Yeah. And then only we can develop a greater confidence. Yeah, this is the battling silently. Those of any of your friends or families who are battling silently, you can, I run a course of healing and awakening program. You can always join us. It's a transformative journey. It's not actually a course, rather it's a journey. Now see how you will deal with this inner child healing. I will give you very simple 4-step formula. सबसे पहले recognize कीजिए. Recognize your wound. कौन सा wound है? कब से दर्द शुरू हुआ? Whether you had a rejection wound or abandonment wound, कुछ तो फील हुआ होगा बचपन में. उसके बाद उस इमोशन को वैलिडेट कीजिए. प्लीज वैलिडेट द इमोशंस. कि many a times what we do, we push the emotions below the carpet. अरे नहीं, अब तो बड़े हो गए हैं, अब क्या ऐसे फील करना. And in our many a times within the males, they say कि okay, take a peg and everything will be fine. No, it doesn't get fine that way. You have to deal with the problem. You have to see the problem eye to eye. Then only it is possible. Okay. And then recognize, validate, and then reparent. Whatever was your unmet needs, we just learned whether we needed love, whether we needed safety, whether we needed anything, encouragement, validation. Give yourself that, a lot of that, so that you can reparent your child now. Whatever was not given to you in your younger years, you give that to yourself now. And then you learn to protect the child. You learn to protect this child by setting healthy boundaries. If you are not able to conform to anyone's demands, you learn to say no. You have to say no firmly but politely, like that. But you have to say no, I can't. I won't be able to join you for the party, or I won't be able to come to that place exactly. So these are the things which one can do to reconnect with the inner child. And after that has been done, embody the healed self. Okay? Open your heart space and yes, embody this beautiful, lovely world, and now spread that love and compassion to others. Thank you so much. Hope it will be of some help.